What is DHCP? What is Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol in networking? Why is it required? And what is exactly it? First thing comes here is dynamic. That is dynamically assign. Computer join, computer go. Dynamically assigning IP, dynamically taking out the or reclaiming back the IP. Okay, host are the computer being joined. And protocol is all about RFCs, that this is the framework which is being developed and that everyone has to follow. And configuration means giving certain parameters to make it aligned to work with us, to work for the computer, to work for the network. Okay. So what is happening here is DHCP or Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol, the system also and the server also, it dynamically assigns an IP address, but not only IP address, all the other network configuration parameters. Only IP is a basic, but only IP cannot be, said that, okay, it will be enough for the communication to happen. No. Other network configuration parameters like the subnet mask, like the default gateway and the DNS server to each of the client, or you can say device, because this is a client server model on a network, so that they can communicate with one another in IP network. So this one is the IP address. This is your subnet mask. And here you have the default gateway. Okay. You can also add the DNS, domain name system. This is also here. So the whole idea is there is a pool of IP addresses which can be assigned to different computers joining the network. And this all happens dynamically, no manual entry. So DHCP, the DHCP server is there. As I said, server client model is there. The clients are all your host, and DHCP server is what is giving the DHCP or using the DHCP. So DHCP server assign each client with a unique dynamic IP address. Why we are calling it as a dynamic? Because lease, because in Windows, the time is 8 days to lease, to only give for a certain period of time. It can be 12 hours also. After 12 hours, this IP which is being assigned to any host will be reclaimed back, will be taken back. Okay? Because this IP is only given on lease, not permanently. What will happen as a network administrator? That whenever a system join or computer join a network, you have to feed it manually, without DHCP. It can be 3 computers, it can be 3,000, it can be 3 million. In big networks, you cannot enter IP. It is unmanageable, unsustainable. That is why DHCP is all about dynamically assign the IP to all the computer networks. So DHCP by itself, it has not come. This bootstrap protocol, this was a network IP management protocol in 1985. So DHCP is actually based on this bootstrap protocol, and DHCP is an IEEE standard. So it is very important. This is, you can say, standardized. So we know what parameters it uses, how the protocol works. So it all started with bootstrap protocol. So you might be asking why bootstrap is not working now? Because there are so many manual entries we require. Boot P will give you dynamic IP, but it wants the MAC ID to be entered manually. Second thing, it does not provide any kind of mechanism or the process to reclaim the IP addresses when the IP addresses are no longer in use or the system has stopped working in the network. So there is no way of reclaiming the IP address. That is why this DHCP came. So this DHCP, if you see RFC is all about request for comment, and this is standardized, and this is you can say organizational. So 2131 and 2132, and who is going to implement? Internet Engineering Task Force, IETF, and this on 2131 and 2132, this is based on bootstrap protocol. Now on which TCP IP or ISO OSI layer stack we have? So DHCP is an application layer protocol. So it works on the, here you see, it works on the application layer of the TCP IP protocol stack. Okay, this is also standardized, you know about that. So DHCP is very important in networking. Now you have a server and a client. Now imagine that these DHCP messages from client to server. So we are talking about DHCP server now. So DHCP server will use the port 67. Which one? 67. This is not on the client. Please remember, I'll just cancel it. It is DHCP server. This is very confusing, right? So remember, DHCP server always use 67 port because DHCP messages from client to server are sent on this port. And DHCP messages from server to a client, these are sent to the DHCP client port, and this is 68. This is always asked. DHCP server port 67, DHCP client port 68. Alright. Now let me give you a very brief idea how exactly this DHCP works. There is a handshake process. Whenever a computer joins a network, it will ask for IP. So it doesn't know where the server is, it doesn't know its own IP. So it will broadcast a DHCP discover packet. It will go broadcast it to everyone. Now the server will get this DHCP discover and it will say, okay, this is the IP, this is the network configuration I want you to, I offer you. This server sends it to the client. Now client gets it and it says, oh, thank you for the offer. Please give me this configuration which you have just offered. I am ready to take it. And finally server says, okay, now I'm adding all these content like the network configuration I am going to provide you on the database, and this is the acknowledgement. So this is kind of a receipt. Now they both are happy. One has given the IP, the other has taken the IP, one has added the IP on the database. And that is final end of the handshake process, and this is how DHCP works.